cooking, everyone? Today we're making a Taiwanese staple that is oh so delicious called Mijiu, which directly translates to sesame oil chicken. There are several reasons why you gotta love this dish. First is that unmatched fragrance with sesame oil and ginger. Second is the heat, which truly just brings you back to life. The third one is just the irresistible flavor and taste. And the fourth one is the simplicity. It is such an easy dish to make, requiring only 5 ingredients and very little prep steps. There's truly no reasons why you shouldn't learn how to make this right now. Let's get started. Alright, here we got some key ingredients, including some sake, but you can also replace this with Mijiu. More on that later. First things first, sharpen that knife. We're about to do some prep work. We got a good knob of ginger here. You can keep the skin on, and then we're just going to cut down 5 to 6 big slices. And because these are too big, I'm going to split them in half to get about 10 to 12 little slices. If you can do the math yourself, good for you. Next, we got our chicken thighs, bone in, of course, and you can also use chicken legs. So what we're gonna do first is trim off the fat and get a nice clean chicken thigh for usage. Always gotta make sure you prepare your ingredients correctly. So there we go, clean boy, ready to be cut. We will be cutting through the bone, so make sure you mark the middle spot and chop. Split that chicken boy right down the bone, and as you can see, the bone is still inside in half. And from this point on, you can cut the chicken into either 3 or 4 pieces depending on how big your pieces are. And that's about it. So here we have our juicy pieces of chicken, and of course we're going to first parboil them in some boiling water to treat any unwanted flavor and rawness. Mix it around, and you can see that all that fat skim racing to the top. That's exactly what we're going to be able to clean off. We don't want that stuff in the soup. So strain that out, give the chickies a nice little shower and rinse. Get them squeaky and clean for their performance, and of course do the same with the ginger. We can't let the ginger feel left out. Nice. And since we'll be cooking these in some oil, we're going to want to do some paper towel therapy just to make sure they are as dry as possible. So just pat them dry and leave them aside. Do the same exact things with the ginger slices, and bam, the golden sliced beauties are ready. Now, to the stove and your pot of choice to finish this off, we're going to start with some sesame oil. Heat it up real slightly and then just drop in the ginger, and you should see a little bit of bubbles. We're going to keep these on a very low heat simmer to avoid any burning and bitter taste. Once you get slightly over the golden brown color with a slight char, it's ready, and this should take about 10 to 12 minutes. So give that a stir and drop in our chickens. Turn the heat up to a medium high, and you're just going to want to fry these chickens on all sides. So make sure you turn them around every once in a while because we're looking for a very beautiful golden brown coating all around. Bam. You see that? Look at that pot. Look at all of those chickens, just so good looking. And at this point, we're going to throw in our water and alcohol. And when you're cooking this dish, you have 2 choices of alcohol to use. Either sake, which I like, or Mijiu, which is a very traditional way of making it, but it also offers a much more powerful alcohol flavor. So I like to prefer the sake for its light and clean fragrance. And now we're going to do some cleaning by skimming off the bubbles at the top. And I suggest you get in a habit of doing this every time you're making some sort of broth or soup. Let that simmer on a low heat for about 30 minutes and absorb all of that electrifying flavor. And now we're just going to finish that off with a little bit of salt, and this will just amplify everything to the maximum, giving you the greatest flavor guaranteed. Quick taste test. Lovely. Now that's basically done. Just let that simmer until needed or you're ready to serve. And of course, we're going to be eating this with some homemade noodles, and if you're curious on how to make this, be sure to watch my video. It is wonderful. I absolutely prefer eating homemade noodles every time I have a dish that calls for it. But of course, there is no shame in using store-bought besides a slight sign of weakness. But seriously, who wouldn't want to eat these instead? Come on. So no matter what noodles you use, just remember it is crucial to add lots of oil and a very large heaping amount of salt. Don't ever forget this. And I'm just gonna let that cook for 3 to 5 minutes until a perfect tender. And of course, do a taste test just to be sure. Yep, that's perfect. And I will mention that Mijiu is generally eaten with su mian, which is a very thin noodle, but I like this so much better. So sit back and enjoy the assembly. Our beautiful golden bowl of Mijiu. Always gotta start off with the soup when eating noodles. It's a must. Yes. Truly god tier of fragrant flavor. It is so aromatic and delicious and really just warms up the body so much, especially with that little alcohol zing inside of it that just really wakes your soul up. And it just makes for such an incredible soup, honestly. Sesame oil flavor with the fried ginger. So yummy. So yummy. Alright, now let's actually go for the homemade noodles. I've tried these several times on my channel. If you've never made homemade noodles, you gotta at least try. I know it's a little bit difficult, but you gotta try because it makes the world of a difference. The correct chewiness, so tender, so delicious and fresh. And I haven't even eaten it yet, but I know that's exactly what I'm gonna say, so. Exactly what I just said, honestly. Just such a complete dish with only 5 ingredients that make this one of my favorite simple things to make, especially when it's cold or when I'm feeling a little bit sick under the weather. The alcohol and the heat and the soup and the fragrance, they just combine together so well in this essence of Mijiu magic. Don't forget to subscribe. Happy New Year's and peace out.
ふわふわるふわふわりあなたが笑っているそれだけで笑顔になる